Do you want to tell Jeff and his brother they're not going to space? Because I ain't telling him. No, you're right. Let's shut the hospital. Jeff and his brother up to space. Do you know, I had another dream. I'd like to go for another 10 minutes. Close another hospital. Jeff's back to space again. Jeff Bezos of Amazon has decided that he's going to space on a rocket that looks like a cock. The fact is, though, that he's been given billions of dollars of your money just so he can go to space on a cock rocket. Meanwhile, Amazon workers are treated like shit. Are you over the moon about that? Sorry. Or are you fuming?
Even for one of the richest people in the world, the stakes are high. Jeff Bezos announcing on Instagram he's flying next month in a rocket made by his company, Blue Origin.
I am impressed by the cock rocket. It looks good. It was amazing to see those jets, propulsion coming out the back of it. It was so cool. In any event, look at how it's being reported by the media. With a real slap on the back, pat on the back, ingenuity. Stars, entrepreneurs, these guys are reaching for the moon. Look at you lot sat around eating Doritos in your pants. You're scum. You don't deserve to be happy. And you aren't, are you? Well, that's why. Meanwhile, though, another way you could report the same story, and the way, in fact, that we are going to report the story, is this. Jeff Bezos is getting given billions of dollars in order to pursue these, what I might call, villainous ambitions. Like, why do you want to go to space? Leave space alone. You've done enough damage on Earth, for God's sake. So, a few things are interesting about this. One, why the media reporting it in this manner. And two, why are our governments giving subsidies, tax breaks, and just plain cash to some of the richest people that have ever lived? Hannah Cox, writing in the Foundation for Economic Education, said, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos are two of the richest men in the world. Musk's Tesla and SpaceX have received nearly $5 billion in government aid over the years in various forms, grants, environmental credits, tax breaks, loans, while Amazon received more than $3.7 billion in taxpayer subsidies at the federal level alone. Don't you, when you hear something like that, you sort of think, I don't really understand it, but it sounds like it's normal, like it's sort of meant to be like that. Well, it isn't. Jeff Bezos, while evidently being a competent organiser and logistics manager for a massive company, is a person. The same as you are a person. He is no different from you. There's no reason why he should be given, well, there are reasons why he should be given 3.7 billion, because, oh, he's creating jobs and he's creating, that's not really the truth though, is it? So there are loops that exist within the realms of the powerful between government and big business, and these loops circulate and continually grease as they perpetuate.
You see the Earth from space, and it changes you. It changes your relationship with this planet, with humanity.
Well, I hope it does, Jeff. Because one of the things that it might be nice if it changed is the way that you treat your workers. Bezos' warehouse imposed strict production quotas. Sometimes I look down at the Earth and I think, I'd like to impose strict production quotas on that. Arbitrary firings, total surveillance, 10-hour workdays with 2 half-hour breaks. I look down at that mystery and think, wow, that is the same Earth that Shakespeare and Mozart and Gandhi walked upon. The Earth of all the great mysteries. And I think, I'd like to impose very short bathroom breaks on that. But this global perspective, which Bezos claims, or engender this or naught else, a sense of oneness, of unity, of fairness and justice. How can you be like a billionaire titan and still sort of go, no, we're not paying them that, we're not paying them that. No, they're not going to unionise. If they unionise, they'll have a voice, they'll have power. Isn't there enough money? Isn't there enough profit? What this kind of news reporting does is it promotes the idea, insinuates the idea insidiously into your mind and my mind that these people are superior to us, they're different from us, they don't have to live by the rules that we live by, that they're entitled to 3.5 billion tax breaks, while human beings, exactly the same as him, aren't allowed to have toilet breaks or unionise in the companies that foster, garner, funnel that wealth to him and his rockets. And also, if someone's got that much money, what are you giving them a subsidy for? Oh, you know, we give them a subsidy and then they keep their factories here and they do this and they create these jobs. This is an ideology. If this was a religious ideology where people wore funny hats or capes, you'd be all over it, wouldn't you? You'd be like, oh, this is just made up. This isn't real. There is no God. What, a man in the sky in a chair? Yeah, there is a man in the sky in a chair, and it's Jeff Bezos.
We've been perfecting our ability to launch, land, and repeat.
Bezos will be on board the first human flight of the 59-foot New Shepard rocket near the edge of space
All I'm pointing out to you here is that the media are supporting industry in creating a version of reality that is bogus and beneficial to the most powerful people, when you could just say, Jeff Bezos is like in this incredibly privileged position. He's got loads and loads of money. He's getting even more money from the government. He'll develop products with the money given to him by the government, possibly along the lines of space exploratory, kit and tech. And then they'll sell that back to the market and to the government, the same way like the technology that I'm talking to you through right now. These are all developed through subsidies. The myth, the narrative, the story, the ingenuity and the free market creates these things is duplicitous. It ain't true. When it comes to taking your money, we're operating in a kind of a free market situation. When it comes to dishing it out to them, we're operating in a peculiar wealth redistribution, an inverted peculiar socialism where the poorest people have to contribute to the continuing advantages of the richest people. The ideology is not even what it claims to be.
It's a big deal for me. I invited my brother to come on this first flight because we're closest friends. Changes your relationship with this planet, with humanity. It's one Earth.
It's weird because when he's talking about looking down at the Earth from space, you feel like it's someone on the precipice of some kind of brilliant, beautiful revelation. Don't you think that what should follow all that stuff should be? So I've realised actually, I'm not going to go to space, and I'm going to not sort of set up some fund where all my money's funneled off and I pretend it's a charity and it never gets dealt out properly. I'm actually gonna create communities, because if Jeff Bezos wanted to, he could make a difference. All of us can individually and certainly collectively make a difference, but Jeff Bezos, with his resources and power, could create an incredible difference. This, I suppose, brings me to a point that I've long believed and iterate elsewhere on this channel, is that Jeff Bezos ain't going to do that, because by the time you get to that position, you've been through all sorts of funnels and filters to make sure that you're not that kind of bloody person, and you've had so much conditioning and programming that that kind of thought just wouldn't occur to you. You'll think of, is there a gesture that can make it look like we're doing something? Yeah, well, that'll do then. That'll do, instead of doing something. Meanwhile, if you need me, I'm in fucking space with my brother.
I really want you to come with me. Would you?
Are you serious?
I am. I think it would be meaningful. I want to go on this flight because it's a thing I've wanted to do all my life.
Why are you bolting sentimentality and human emotion onto this sort of garish endeavour to further solidify the notion that there are real meaningful distinctions between different human beings? Ever since I was a little boy, it was my dream to start a massive organisation that didn't treat its workers properly, and then while they were being treated quite badly and being paid poorly, just to fuck right up to fucking space. That's how I saw it, and unbelievably, for me, that's what's happening. My dreams did not work out so well. So shut up! Hey, is this one of your scheduled breaks, Carlos? No, sir, sorry, I'll go back to the factory.
In the end, the whole journey will only take about 10 minutes from liftoff to landing.
10 minutes to go to space. It's costing all that money. Woo! Did you enjoy that? Much sorry, I nodded off. What happened?
Jeff Bezos and his brother will be the first passengers on the new Shepard rocket that he spent millions designing.
The Shepard has cleared the tower.
I'm also offended by the title New Shepard a little bit. Who was the old Shepard? It was Jesus.
With those on board experiencing weightlessness after 3 minutes. It will peak after 4 minutes, just above the Kármán line.
Why are we celebrating this? Like, what kind of, see, this is the thing. Mainstream media news purports to be objective, right? Look at this, objective graphics and like a nice little chart of the cock rocket zooming up across the horizon. The Kármán line, the boundary between Earth and space. Oh, this seems very grown up. Oh, they know what they're doing. They're crossing over the Kármán line. Seems we should all be okay. This is all pointless. Some man and his brother can fuck space.
The capsule will drift back to Earth using parachutes before landing in the West Texas desert.
This is not news. This is propaganda. This shouldn't even be on the news. This is propaganda, and it's insidious propaganda at that. It's designed to normalise excess and inequality, and to propose that the myth of progress is ongoing. Not long ago, my lifetime nearly, the space race was undertaken between nations, the United States of America and Russia, and perhaps that was no better, given as it was kind of a proxy war for ongoing nuclear tension between those two countries. But now that same competition is undertaken by individuals. underwritten economically. So the myth of the nation, which, you know, is just a way of corralling people together into manageable populations so they'll all behave according to the behest and will of a sort of powerful elite at the top of that nation, has now been further distilled into a kind of a corporatized idea, as predicted by David Foster Wallace and sort of written about in his book Infinite Jest, that you have the logos of the corporation wallpapered over the idea of the nation. The nation harnesses our natural tribal tendencies. We're together, we're one, let's help one another. We're proud of the National Health Service. I'm proud of the US Marine Corps. These ideas that people can come together and achieve great things. Beautiful, truthful, honest, powerful emotions. But when those emotions are mobilized and utilized for the further convenience and advantage of already powerful people, I would call it a disgusting contrick practiced at large on ordinary people. And I suppose what's powerful about this image system, the ascending beyond the limitations of life, ascending beyond the earth itself, is it kind of mobilizes our mythic understanding of the holy, the divine, the ethereal, that which could be reached. But those things should be reached by all of us collectively. With the moon landings, you know, still the most watched televisual event in history, a kind of a success that was felt by a nation, little boys and girls waving flags thinking we're part of something big. Well, this now has calcified down to, this is about the individual. This is about Jeff Bezos mawkishly celebrating his perhaps very real love for his brother, using the most galling of technical toys that a lot's being shot up into space, if you ask me, could feed and clothe and help and aid the poor and dispossessed people of the world.
That flight on July 20th is also the 52nd anniversary of the first Apollo moon landing. David?
An incredible anniversary to mark.
Check this out. The government are absolutely determined to give Jeff Bezos money to fulfill his childish dream, or childhood dream, of being a spaceman. Look, recently the two men have been competing for another taxpayer-funded contract, a NASA grant to put astronauts on the moon. Last month it was announced that Musk's company, SpaceX, would be awarded the contract. This is like an episode of The Simpsons where Barney and Homer are trying to go to space.
You've both worked very hard, and in a way you're both winners. But in another more accurate way, Barney is the winner.
But during the review process, lawmakers are now angling to help Bezos receive $10 billion. But I wanted to go to the moon. I wanted to go to the moon with my brother. Don't worry, Jeff. We'll get you $10 billion contract. We'll amend the bill. We'll amend it because Maria Cantwell, who's a senator in the state where Blue Origin's, Jeff Bezos' space company, is based and headquartered, she can tack on a little grant for you for $10 billion. So everyone's going to space. It's not a party bag where you just get a bit of cake and trips to space for all of the billionaires. You'll go to space. You're going to space. You're going to space. Well, I didn't want to go to space. You're still going. Blue Origin spent $625 grand lobbying the Senate between January and March of 2021. Even though in that particular case they didn't achieve their stated objective, that 625 grand still went to the government. Money is going in that direction and money is coming in that direction, sort of like a circle made of money. Check this out as well. This is a hard fact to swallow. The federal government spends $75 billion a year on subsidies to private businesses. There's no easy way to fully measure the dollar amount of corporate handouts across federal, state and city budgets, much less the amount of corporate welfare given via other means like selective tax breaks or regulatory favoritism. Just get your head around that for a moment. Take a moment to understand that the government gives billions to already rich businesses. So when you sort of hear something like, no, we can't have that healthcare plan. We can't. Why? Well, no money. What? Are you seriously suggesting that we don't send Jeff Bezos and his fucking brother to space? Do you want to tell him? Do you want to tell Jeff and his brother they're not going to space? Because I ain't telling him. No, you're right. Let's shut the hospital. Jeff and his brother up to space. Do you know, I had another dream. I'd like to go for another 10 minutes. Goes to another hospital. Jeff's back to space again.
I wasn't even expecting him to say that he was going to be on the first flight. And then when he asked me to go along, I was just awestruck.
Seriously?
If you're willing, if you want to.
God.
Yeah.
Charles Koch once said, subsidies and mandates are just two of the privileges that government can bestow on politically connected friends. Others include grants, loans, tax credits, favourable regulations, bailouts, loan guarantees, targeted tax breaks and no big contracts. Okay. Corporate welfare is a form of cronyism. It's a direct attack on free market capitalism, which, by the way, is the ideology that they claim to adore. It doesn't exist at all. It's quantitatively eased into a new reality. It's held together by subsidies and handouts. It's just like some mad party that you've not been in, to paraphrase George Carlin, invited to. Furthermore, just to hammer home that there is a serious side to this, admittedly, in some ways, absolutely hilarious and brilliantly funny story, that during the pandemic, Musk, the dude who won the contract, fired workers who took unpaid leave during the pandemic. Cool. He's virulently anti-union. National Labour Relations Board found that Tesla illegally interrogated workers over suspected efforts to form a union. There's a legal way of interrogating people. Fired one and disciplined another for union-related activities, threatened workers if they unionised, and barred employees for communicating with the media. I'm not talking about this will go socialism, have state communism a la Mao's China or Stalin's Russia, saying have a fairer, more just society. The only way of doing that is to ensure that people that do not have the power to send their brother off on a rocket for a bit of a laugh are able to get a bloody toilet break.
Only 6 seats in the capsule, each with a window. One seat on Bezos' flight will go to the winner of a month-long auction currently in progress, bidding already soaring to over $3.5 million as of tonight.
It's like a real-life Willy Wonka, except where Charlie Bucket's got to pay for that fucking ticket.
What a remarkable opportunity, not only to have this adventure, but to be able to do it with my best friend.
I love you. I love you too.
I've not got nothing against brothers cuddling. It's just it seems like a galling, disgusting, lachrymose, sentimental trick to hoodwink people into accepting unfairness, inequality in a very practical and real way in the case of people who are working at those organisations, and in a more general way for all people that are suffering and feel that they don't have access to, let alone their sky-high giddy kid dreams, but dignity and ordinary rights. If you like that video, please like and subscribe, turn on the notification bell, send down any comments, and sign up to my mailing list as well. And if you wouldn't mind, could you send a little bit of money, because I've had a dream ever since I was a little girl growing up in Poland. I've wanted to be yo-yoed around the planet like on a bungee thing. It's going to cost a few billion, but if all of you could just give me some of your money, then I can just be bungee jumped around for ages, and it would just help to put a little grin on my boat race. Thank you, if you don't mind. Put your comments below. Thank you.